What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see the daily Ravens content, make sure the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I put a brand new video. In this video today, talking about, guess what? Odell Beckham Jr. Not surprised by that at all. He signed with the Ravens on Sunday. It's been 2 days. And the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the Ravens offense and Todd Monken and Odell Beckham Jr. and kind of what to expect, because this is a new offensive coordinator, and I don't think a lot of people are very familiar with Todd Monken's offensive coordinating ability and previous offenses that he's run. So I'm going to be talking about kind of what I expect he'll use Odell Beckham Jr. as. I may give some numbers of my expectations, not like solid numbers, but ranges and things like that. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you expect this Ravens offense to look like with Odell Beckham Jr. and Todd Monken? And this is assuming maybe the Ravens add one more wide receiver. Maybe it's in the draft, maybe it's in free agency. I don't know exactly how. But let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So first off, if you didn't know, Todd Monken has coached Odell Beckham Jr. before. He has been the offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator in, I want to say it was 2019, for the Cleveland Browns when Odell had his first season in Cleveland. Odell came over, had another 1,000-yard season, was productive. And then Todd Monken left, and Odell significantly dropped off with Freddie Kitchens. So shout out to Freddie Kitchens for ruining Odell Beckham Jr. for the next couple of years, because it really helped out the Ravens. But now Odell Beckham Jr. is teaming back up with Todd Monken and this Ravens offense. So, just thinking about what the Ravens have, let's go over it. Potentially. Obviously, they could draft someone first-round wide receiver, something like that. But the expectation, right, is Rashad Bateman, Odell, Nelson Agholor, and Devin Duvernay. Tight end, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar as well, but not thinking of him as a major integral part. Then running back, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. is the lead back, and a good offensive line. So that is good. Right? That is good for exactly what I think the Ravens are going to do, which is hard run play action. And I think this fits every single one of those players' games. Now, let's go through it from top to bottom. Quarterback. Lamar Jackson running the play action is terrifying. Why? Because he can also run, and teams are afraid of his legs. So if you're a heavy run system with Lamar Jackson, you're going to be successful running the football. Right? Your offense is going to get rushing yards when you have Lamar Jackson. That is a fact with any mobile quarterback, but it is especially true with Lamar Jackson. Next up, I think the next most important thing is the offensive line. The Ravens have a pretty good offensive line. They've got a very good left tackle. They've got a good veteran right tackle, a great young center. We don't know exactly about left guard, but Kevin Zeitler last year was Pro Bowl caliber. Didn't get the Pro Bowl vote, but caliber of making the Pro Bowl. Those are 4 of 5 linemen are very solid, if not great. One of them is unknown. Could be decent. We don't know for sure. And that would potentially be a Ben Cleveland or, maybe a rookie draft pick. So we're still yet to see, but that's a good offensive line. They've been doing a very good job the last couple of seasons. Well, except for Alejandro Villanueva. They've been doing a very good job for the Ravens, though, especially when it comes to running the football. So they're going to be able to do that with that offensive line. Next up, J.K. Dobbins, running back. J.K.'s a great back. He may not be top 5, but I think this year he maybe establishes himself as a top 10 type of guy, and he could have a monster year running the football. And then we do have a great backup in Gus Edwards that'll be able to help establish that run. So we have the running part down. Play action, how is that? Oh, also the tight ends, they can all block. Mark Andrews can block, Isaiah Likely can block. That's not a problem. Now, when it comes to the play action, how is that going to work? Because the biggest thing with play action is there's a couple of different ways to have the hard play actions. I don't expect the Ravens to go back to what they did with Joe Flacco, because with Joe Flacco, it was hard play action, deep shot. That's not my expectation for this Ravens offense, because back then it was Flacco, it was Ray Rice, good offensive line, good tight ends, but then it was deep threats, right? It was Jacoby Jones, it was Torrey Smith. Those were the guys that we would throw it up to. Again, no problem with that type of offense. I love that type of offense. I love a vertical passing attack, especially out of the play action. But the Ravens, what they have is they have really good tight ends and good route runners. And those route runners are also pretty solid after the catch and have decent athleticism. So now Aguilar can go deep. I have no problem if he goes deep. I'm not saying the Ravens won't take deep attacks, but I think they're going to take crossers and the intermediate routes. That is more what the Philadelphia Eagles have done because they had a good offensive line, they had good wide receivers, but they took on average one deep shot a game. I think the Ravens will take a little bit more than that. But what they did was they used A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being a phenomenal route runner, A.J. Brown being, I still believe he's the best. I think he's probably the best after the catch wide receiver in the NFL, which is saying a lot because Deebo Samuel exists. But he is great in crossers. I think Odell Beckham Jr., paired with Todd Monken and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are all players that can be very good on a 20-yard crossing route over the middle. Now, they're long developing routes, but when you hit them, sometimes the safeties are out of position. You're able to get huge chunk plays. And I think Rashad Bateman can thrive on these. And what you do is you can throw a drag underneath and take that linebacker, suck them in even more, because why the play action works with the crosser is the linebackers commit hard to the run. They get close to the line of scrimmage. When that happens, if you have a drag route, maybe it's Duvernay, Aguilar, Bateman, Odell, and then behind them, 15, 20 yards, you have that crossing route. You can hit them because the linebackers aren't there to stop you. One of the biggest problems of Greg Roman's offense was he wasn't able to scheme players space, right? A lot of times, yes, we could hit players over the middle, but it was them doing it of their own accord. It wasn't, the linebacker was out of position because he was committing to somebody else, right? I think Bateman, we've already seen what Bateman can do after the catch on a slant route. What can he do on a 15, 20-yard crosser? I think he can do a lot. So my expectation for that is, for the overall offensive identity is going to be, hard run, play action, get downfield, but maybe not in the sense of a vertical pass, right? 20 yards. I think 20 yards is going to be the sweet spot for Lamar Jackson. He's very good at hitting players from that distance. That's where a lot of his, best career throws have been, is those 20-yard plays. Just look at Sammy Watkins in that Detroit Lions game when we were coming back and it was 4th and 19. I think that's where this team is going to thrive. That's where tight ends thrive. That's where these really good route runners like an Odell, like a Rashad Bateman are going to be able to thrive. And they have the good hands and ability after the catch. I don't want people to be upset if we're not taking deep shots, because you don't have to take deep shots. You just have to get explosive plays. And the Ravens have ball handlers that are explosive, like Odell, Bateman, Duvernay, Aguilar, maybe a rookie that they draft. But that's kind of my expectation, is this, creating an offense that is designed around this, hard play action, crosses across the map. I think Lamar's going to be under center a lot, which I think I'm fine with. And I think we're also going to see effective, under center play action on first down that works, because Todd Monken is able to mix in, those types of play calls with the hard, ground and pound run game. He also coached Nick Chubb, right? Very good ground and pound runner. He's coached plenty of good offensive weapons and, plenty of wide receivers, right? Like Mike Evans isn't a deep threat. Mike Evans is a big body possession wide receiver. Again, Chris Godwin, not a deep threat. Possession, good route running, 20 yards is kind of the sweet spot. That's what I'm expecting to see. And I think that's, bringing this up, did the mock draft yesterday. Go check it out if you haven't. If the Ravens are to go wide receiver, I think going for a deep threat could be the best move for them. A guy like maybe a Trey Palmer and Andre Iosivas to be able to get that, vertical passing going if the Ravens want to do it. Because Lamar doesn't really have that target right now in terms of a specialist, right? Bateman can't, players can go deep. It's whether or not they excel at it, because the most important thing about going deep, it's not speed, it's not hands, it's not finesse, it's tracking. And that is what made Hollywood a very good deep threat. Hollywood Brown doesn't have great hands. He's an okay, right? He's a good route runner. He's not amazing. But when the ball was in the air, he knew exactly where it was going to be, and he was going to get under it. That's what made Antonio Brown so great. That's what makes all the deep threats that have been historically great. They weren't always the fastest, but they knew where that ball was going right away, and their hands were in the right place every time. That's what we want to see. Ravens don't necessarily have that, I don't think, on their team. They have players that can make plays down the field, don't get me wrong, but I'm expecting us to be a hard play action, crossers, 20 yards is going to be that sweet spot. Let me know in the comment section down below your guys' thoughts, and if you think there's a deep threat the Ravens should go after, whether it's free agency, undrafted free agents, or in the NFL draft, let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again.